So thanks for joining me, and welcome back. It's been a while. Thanks for those who voted for me to review the Lee 100 filter system. I ran a poll, and this was the most popular choice. But rather than just review the system, I'm going to do a compare and contrast with a much cheaper kind of generic. I'm not even sure if this has got a brand name, but I got this off Amazon for kind of less than £20. Brand new, this Lee system will set you back about £80, so there's a kind of £60 difference in the two. How do you justify that £60? Kind of first things first is kind of just the feel is different. The Lee system, the adapter is metal, but the outside is plastic, whereas this one actually feels a bit more robust because it's solid, it's all metal. But obviously you'll appreciate how to use a filter. This is the 17 to 40 lens. The ring adapter is 77 millimeters, and you just screw that into your lens, and it will hold your filters in place. So I've got my kind of bag of filters that I carry around with me. Obviously sits on your camera, and then you can drop your different filters along these slots, and that system does exactly the same. So there's no advantage at the moment to having the Lee system over the generic system, because it'll hold the same number of filters and attaches in exactly the same way. You'll notice there's a difference in terms of, and people got quite excited about this. When this system first came out, people got quite excited about this little blue tab. And essentially what it is the blue tab is a lock. At the moment it's locked, so the filters won't turn. But if I turn the lock towards me, I can move the filters. So it's a nice bit of design. It's a nice chunky size knob, so if you've got gloves on, it's quite easy to use. But then turn it back and it's locked. But actually, the generic system has something very similar. It's a smaller knob and it's aluminium, but if I turn the knob, it does the same thing. You can hear that's a bit more metallic, but it takes a few more screws, and it's a bit more fiddly. I've found if my hands are cold and I've got gloves on, that's a bit fiddly, but not £60 worth of kind of inconvenience. So that doesn't justify kind of the difference in price. Although kind of that does, make life a little bit easier, but not that much easier. But there's one very specific reason why I think if you're going to use the Lee filter system, you're going to spend money on the Lee filter system, you can justify that extra expenditure if you're going to use a polarizer. So got my Lee polarizer, and it's an expensive piece of glass. So use my polarizer quite a lot when I'm at the coast or shooting water, and it's got two elements. One attaches to the filter holder, and then the front element rotates, and that can be a bit fiddly. Now this is where I think I can justify the money. Generic systems and other systems tend to have this metal ring that you permanently attach to the front. There's a couple of screws holding that in, and then you screw the polarizer into there. Now, one difficulty is when you're outside and you're screwing that in, and hands are cold and it's windy and all that type of stuff, it's really fiddly. And a couple of times I've had kind of near misses where it's not quite screwed in and fallen. But much more important than that is once it's in, getting it back out is kind of... I remember I was out photographing in Wales with my friend Patrick from Sweden, and I put the filter in, and both of us, both full-grown men, could not get it out. We just could not get the grip to get it out. So for the rest of the day, I had to take photographs with the polarizer attached, and I had to wait till I got home to put some WD-40 on. I actually heated up the ring, and then it was still, I thought I was going to give myself a hernia trying to twist it back out. It was that hard. So that's a challenge. But Lee have obviously seen that problem, and they've come up with this solution. So it's essentially the same circle. It's another circle. You screw the filter in. I won't do it now, but you screw the filter in, And actually you can just leave it in there then, because it has these two kind of spring-loaded clasps on the side. You put one in one side, one in the other, and that's it attached. You might have heard that click in, clicks in, use your polarizer, spin your polarizer around, and when you're finished, press the button again, and it clicks out. It's that simple. So my polarizer now sits in there permanently. I took it out to kind of demonstrate, but my polarizer sits in there permanently. And it's so much easier to just be able to click in and click out. The polarizer's about £100. I think this is about £40. So collectively, this and the polarizer is about £220 worth of equipment. But I think I can justify it on the basis that I'm still using the polarizer with this, so I've still got about £120 worth of equipment, and I think it's worth £100 if you can afford it, and if you're going to use a polarizer very, very regularly, to have that usability, to be able to do that click on and click off with your polarizer justifies having this system, because the likelihood of breaking that filter, either trying to screw it in or breaking it coming out, is so high that I think it's almost like an insurance policy to use this system. That is the only reason that I would recommend buying the Lee filter system above any other. If you're going to use the polarizer, spend the money if you can afford it. If you're not going to use the polarizer, I don't think it does anything other. It looks a bit fancier. It's obviously a well-known brand, and some people like to kind of use kind of brand names, but it doesn't do anything better in terms of holding filters other than the polarizer. So if you're just going to use standard ND filters, stick with the cheap version, and you'll be quite happy. But if you're going to use the polarizer, I would recommend investing in it. The other thing I would say is that does retail about £80. I actually got it second hand, I think off Wex. So Wex do some really good used photo equipment, and I think I spent about £30 on it. So you know, if you can get hold of it second hand, even better. So kind of that's my review of the Lee 100 filter system. It doesn't do anything different really, other than the polarizer adapter is much better than having to screw it in. That's the only reason I would recommend buying it. Otherwise, just stick with the generic version. So I hope you found that useful. Don't forget to check out my website, check out Instagram, and also I've because I'm a regular customer with the print space. I've got a discount code that people can use when they're ordering from the print space. So I'll put the code on the screen, and if you're ordering prints, use that and you get yourself quite a decent discount. So keep an eye out for further polls. I'll let you choose what videos are coming up, and I'll see you again soon. Cheers. Bye bye.